In the 2015 Steven Spielberg movie Bridges of Spies, there are a number of film editing techniques that are extremely well executed to help develop the story and accentuate the emotion. In this particular video, we're going to look at a few of them that can be great learning lessons for all of us and can hopefully help all of us with our video editing assignments in the future. So, without further ado, let's get started. In the beginning sequence of the film, for almost 4 minutes long, there are no conversation taking place at all. No words spoken, no dialogues exchanged whatsoever, and all we're seeing are the main character's expression and emotion, and all we're hearing are just the ambient background noise. This is an extremely powerful technique to engage the audience, to keep the suspense going. And my favorite scene in this sequence is when the spy himself decides to pick up the phone, which has been ringing off the hook, and exactly, and we still hear nothing coming from the other end of the phone. This is done on purpose to really accentuate the mystic vibe surrounding this character, and it's just well executed in the right context to help really deliver the emotion. The second technique is cross-cutting or parallel editing. This is one of my personal favorite video editing techniques of all time. In this particular sequence, what we're seeing essentially are just two different stories. One of which is James Donovan, played by Tom Hanks, going to the Supreme Court. And the other one is the pilot getting into the aircraft to get ready for his mission. Now, when we look at this sequence more in depth, we're going to see that essentially there are just two different stories, but happening at the same time. And instead of just telling one story after the other in a linear fashion, they switch back and forth between the two to really help accelerate the story development and also engage the audience. This is a very powerful technique that's also used in a lot of great Hollywood movies. The last technique we're going to look at here is creative transitioning, and it is used quite a lot in this film. Now, in this first example, where the CIA agent is showing the pilots all the gears,
the items you'll need on your mission are over here.
And instead of actually showing all the gears, it cuts to a scene where James Donovan and his associate are inspecting the gears that were seized from the Soviet spy's apartment. Now, in the second example, where the judge enters the courtroom,
all rise.
And instead of showing people in the courtroom actually standing up, it cuts to a scene where school students are standing up instead to pledge their allegiance to their country. Now, in the last example, a CIA agent is showing James Donovan a map of East Germany, and as James picks up the map,
an associate of mine.
It immediately cuts to a scene where a prison guard from East Germany is flipping through his newspaper, and the American student's girlfriend is asking him about her boyfriend. Now, in all these three examples, what they have in common is that as it cuts into a new scene, which is a completely different sequence, there is still somehow a level of similarity and a level of connectivity to the previous scene. And that level of similarity is rooted in terms of sound or motion or the content. And it's just a masterfully done technique. It can be tricky, but it's beautifully done to lead the audience to a different story, a different sequence, without making the transition feeling jarring or without letting the audience feel disconnected. Okay guys, this is all I have for today, and I will see you in the next video.